Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. This is a video for lesson number 94, day 94. This is our second day of two-way tables, and today we're going to talk about relative frequency with our two-way tables. You will definitely need a calculator for today, so make sure you have that handy. All right, here we go. A two-way table can also show relative frequencies. Relative frequencies, or relative frequency, is the ratio. Remember, ratio is a fancy name for a fraction of the value of a subtotal to the value of the total. Okay, so we have the same exact example that we used for the past 2 days in our do now and in our lesson yesterday. So in example 1 from yesterday, the relative frequency of students that take a foreign language and also play a sport. Okay, so take a foreign language and play a sport all together is 14. And out of the total 50 is 14 out of 58, or 0.28. So we're going to be making fractions just kind of like we did yesterday after we made our two-way tables, get all the values, pick out the fractions. So it is similar to yesterday's. 14, that top number is the number of students who take the foreign language and play your sports. And then that bottom one is the number of people in total for the entire table, and that's going to be 50. A two-way table can show relative frequency by rows or columns rather than actual values. To find the relative frequency by row, write the ratios of each value to the total in that row. So remember, these are all of your rows. Okay, those are all of your rows. When creating a two-way table with relative frequency by column, let me do a different color. By column, use the total of the column when writing. So don't forget, these over here, these are your column headings, okay? So it's very important that you know that vocabulary. These are rows and these are columns. And then the total column, whether it's this way or this way, is just known as regular cumulative frequency. All right, so let's start showing you how to do one. So it says, first question, what's the relative frequency of students that take a foreign language and play a sport to all students taking a foreign language? So actually, we can get that answer right away by just simply looking over here. So what's relative frequency of a student taking a foreign language and playing a sport? So this is going to be your numerator. To all students taking a foreign language. Okay, I'm going to switch up that color. This is going to be your denominator. So you can actually get your answer from the new one, but we haven't done the new one yet, so we're going to go back to the original. So foreign language and play a sport is 14. To all students taking a foreign language. So remember, they don't say anything else. If they don't say anything else, you're also going to include total with foreign language. So foreign language total, that's 37. So that's going to be 14 out of 37. So 14 out of 37. And notice here I said round to the nearest hundredth. Relative frequency is really a decimal. So that's why you need your calculator. So 14 divided by 37. This 10's hundredths, this 8 will round that 7 up to an 8. So 0.38 or 38%. So again, when you get relative frequency, you usually do the fraction, which is what we did yesterday, and then go the one step further and do the decimal or the percent. Today, I think we're just going to mostly do the decimal, you're going to see, but I guess really it could be asked at all. Okay, so now let's get to making our tables, our relative frequencies by row or sport, and you can see how this answer will actually be one of the boxes in our table. Okay, so for this first one, we want to do them by row. So what you want to remember, again, is that these are all of your rows, okay? And it says, write the ratio, so a fraction of each value to the total in the row. So let's start with this first row. What is the total for kids that take a foreign language? The total is 37. So you're going to write each one of these numbers over 37. So 14 over 37, 23 over 37, and 37 over 37. So 14 over 37, 23 over 37, and 37 over 37. Okay, so each one of these in this row went over the total of that row. And then you put in your calculator like I kind of did before, and each one of these, you're just going to get the decimal to the nearest hundred. So just to kind of save time, I'm going to give you these numbers. Now notice this one is 1. Because this was the total for this row, that last one is always going to be 1. All right, so now let's look at just the middle section, okay? Just the middle. What is the total for the middle? The total for the middle is 13. So 10 goes over 13, 3 goes over 13, and 13 goes over 13. So 10 over 13, 3 over 13, and 13 over 13. So that's going to give you 0.77, 0.23, and a 1. Again, you're noticing all of these are going to be 1s. All right, and then the last row is the total. So in the total column, what's the total for the total? And that's 50. So this goes over 50, this goes over 50, and this goes over 50. So again, I'm only focusing on the rows. So 24 out of 50 is 0.48. 26 out of 50 is 0.52. And then 50 out of 50 is 1. Again, these are your rows. So at the end of the rows is where you see the 1s. All right, so that was your first two-way table that you created using relative frequency by row. And just to show you, to go back here, we could actually have gotten our answer. So you want to look for foreign language and play a sport. So foreign language, play a sport. What fraction was in there? Well, look, that was our answer. So when we do these kind of questions, we can either answer it from the original, or we can just look in our new one that already has the work for us. All right, so the second one is still going to go back, and I'm still going to use this. So I'll kind of see if I can put them on the same page. All right, because now what we want to do is, instead of working with the rows, okay, instead of working with the rows and using all of these numbers, now for the second one, we're going to work with the columns, okay? So now we're going to focus on all of these totals here, okay? So again, this second one is by columns. So what is the relative frequency of students that neither play a sport? So we'll do this two ways. Neither play a sport nor take a foreign language. Okay, that's actually going to be your numerator. To all the students that do not play a sport. And then notice they don't give you two different things. So use total and not play a sport. And that's going to be your denominator. So if I use these numbers over here, okay, neither play a sport nor take a foreign language. So let's go put the original first. So how many people do not do anything at all? And that's 3. Okay, so it's going to be 3 over all students that do not play a sport. Okay, and that's going to be total and do not play a sport. So do not play a sport and total is 26. So 3 out of 26. If I divide in the calculator, I get 0.12 or 12%. And again, you're going to notice when we're done making this, that we can actually get this answer. Okay, so again, this talks about column. So now we're looking this way. These are the columns. So for the first one, play a sport, what is your total? The total is 24. So your fractions are going to be 14 over 24, 10 over 24, and 24 over 24. Okay, so that's 14 over 24. That is 10 over 24 and 24 over 24. So that's 0.58, 0.42, and 1. Again, notice now the last one in the column is the one that's going to be 1. All right, now you have your middle. Okay, you have your total. So it's 23 over 26, 3 over 26, and 26 over 26. So each number gets put over the total. And this is how we figure out our relative frequency. And this one is by column. This is 0.88, this is 0.12, and this is 1. All right. And now our last one. This should be 37 over 50, 13 over 50, and 50 over 50. So 37 over 50, 13 over 50, and 50 over 50. This is going to be, nope, sorry. This is going to be 0.74, this is 0.76, and 0.1. Now, back over here, you notice these numbers, 0.38 and 0.62, add up to 1. 77 and 23 is 1, and these add 1. And now, for this one, this way adds. Okay, again, notice at the bottom, all of these, excuse me, that's a 1, now have the 1s. All right, and now once it's done, again, you could have found your fraction from here. Neither play a sport nor take a foreign language. So you just look for this. No sport and no foreign language, and that's 0.12, which is what we have. So it kind of works out nice that way. All right, so let's keep going. Some more examples. A class was surveyed about whether they have been to Canada or Mexico. Find their relative frequencies by row. Okay, so we're going to do our row, and then we're going to do our column. Okay, kind of like we did with the previous one. Round to nearest hundredth, and then here is our question. Relative frequency has been to both Canada and Mexico. Okay, so that's going to be our numerator, Canada and Mexico, to all students that have been to Mexico. And that's going to be our denominator. Remember, this is total Mexico. So let's see, both Canada and Mexico, that's this number right here. Okay, so that's 6. And then all students that have been to Mexico. So Mexico and total. So total for Mexico and total, that is 9, which is 0.67 or 67%. Now I'm going to show you when we're done how to know which one of the two to pick if you wanted to do this one. Okay, so for this first one, we're going to add frequency by row, and then this one down here will be frequency by column. All right, so let's start with the rows. So remember, rows go this way. Rows are the long ones. So these are my totals. Okay, so for the first row, this is your total. So 6 over 9, 3 over 9, and 9 over 9. 6 over 9, 3 over 9, and 9 over 9. So that's 0.67, 0.33, and a 1. And again, I'm getting by simply just doing 6 divided by 9 in the calculator, and I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth. Okay, next row. Next row, all these are over 16. So 5 over 16, 11 over 16, and 16 over 16. That's 0.31, 0.69, and 1. Again, these are by rows, so the rows have the 1s. All right, and the last one, you'll see your last row is 25. So 11 over 25, 14 over 25, and 25 over 25. That gets us 0.44, 0.56, and 1. All right, so that is by rows. So now we want to go by columns. Columns are the ones that go straight up and down. So now you want to use these numbers here. So 6 over 11, 5 over 11, 3 over 14, 11 over 14, 9 over 25, 16 over 20, and don't forget to put the this one also over 11. So 6 over 11, then we have 5 over 11, and then we have 11. So all of these numbers are going to be over that denominator. So you have 0.55, 0.45, and 1. All right, so you have middle, 3, 11, and 14. So all three of those go over this total here. 3 over 14, 11 over 14, and 14 over 14. So 3 over 14, 11 over 14, and 14 over 14. Now notice the columns, by the way. The columns, the ends are the ones. That always happens. That's how you know how you're doing it, right? All right, now 9 over 25, 16 over 25, and 25 over 25. So 9 over 25 is 0.36. 16 over 25 is 0.64. And 25 over 25 is 1. All right, so your tables are done. You do frequency by row and by column. We technically already answered the question, but I just want to show you how you would know if you picked this one here or this one here, if you didn't go back to the original. I always like going back to the original. I think you'll make less mistakes. But so this is what you're comparing it to. All students that have been to Mexico. And then row, so choose frequency by row. Okay, so because Mexico is a row, because Mexico is a row title, right? These are your rows. These are your columns. You want to pick the one that's frequency by row. So have been to both Canada and Mexico, I'd be choosing this one right here because it's Mexico. And that was our answer. Okay. All right. Next, two more questions. 50 students in the 8th grade of a middle school were asked what kind of yogurt they like and what kind of toppings they like. So you already have the chart made for you. And the first one is going to be a little different. We have not done this yet. We're going to do a two-way table for all 50 students. So we've done by row, we've done by column, but we haven't done for the entire table. So this one, every single number you see goes over 50. And that's it. That's how you do the entire table. So every single number over 50. So I'm going to do this quick, okay? So 9 over 50 is 0.18. 8 over 50 is 0.16. 13 over 50 is 0.26. 30 over 50 is 0.60. 70 over 50 is 0.14. 0.18. 4 over 50 is 0.08. 20 over 50 is 0.40. 16 over 50 is 0.32. 0.34. 0.34, and then our last one, 50 over 50. And notice that's the only one that has the 1. That's how you know that it's for the entire table. All right, so now we're going to go by rows. Remember, rows are this way, okay? These are your rows. So you're going to use these totals. So in this row, all of these numbers, including 30, go over 30. In this one, all of these numbers, including 20, go over 20. And all of these numbers, including 50, go over 50. Okay, so again, I'm just going to write these quick for you. 9 over 30, 8 over 30, 13 over 30, 30 over 30. That's 0.30, 0.27, and 1, there's that 1. So 7 over 20, 9 over 20, 4 over 20, 20 over 20. 0.35, 0.45, 0.20, and there's your 1. And the last one, again, they're all over 50. So 16 over 50, 17 over 50, 17 over 50, and 50 over 50. 0.32, 0.34, 0.34, and 1. So that is by row. And then our final is by column. Remember, these are your columns. Okay, so all of these numbers are the columns. So in the first column, 9, 7, and 16 go over 16. 8, 9, and 17 go over 17. 13, 14, and 17 go over 17. 30, 20, 50 go over 50. All right, quick do this for you. So 9 over 16, 7 over 16, 16 over 16. And then it's 8 over 17, 9 over 17, and 17 over 17. And then it's 13 over 17, 4 over 17, and 17 over 17. Sorry, I'm getting sloppy. It's hard to write in these little things. And then it's 30 over 50, 20 over 50, and 50 over 50. And that's 0.60, 0.40, and 1. So here you see your 1s down here. And so, all right, I don't think we have any questions to answer for that one. So this is by columns, which is this way. This one's by rows, which is this way. And this one is for the entire table. All right, and then the last question. So I want you guys to go ahead and try this last one on your own. Okay, so stop the video and try it. And when you're done, come back and check your work. Okay, so for the last one, we want to go for the whole table. So that's everything's going to be over 20. And then we're going to go for our rows. Okay, remember these here are the rows. And then for the last one, it's going to be the column. Okay, remember these are our column headings. And then this one has a question. All right, so for the table, you should put every single number over 200. So 50 over 200, 20 over 200, 30 over 200, and 100 over 200. So 0.25, 0.10, 0.15, 0.50, 40 over 200, 90 over 200. I'm going to go by column now. 0.20, and then 40 over 200, 60 over 200. That's 0.20 and 0.30. 20 over 200, 50 over 200. That's 0.10 and 0.25. And then 100 over 200 and 200 over 200. That's your 0.50 and your 1. Again, notice that's the only one that has the 1. And you know that because that's for the table. All right, rows. So you're focusing on the ends of the rows. You're focusing on these numbers here. So for the first row, 50, 20, 30, and 100 all go over 100. 40, 40, 20, and 100 all go over 100. And for the last one, 90, 60, 50, 200 all go over 200. Sorry, it should be hundreds. The first row is over 100. So 50 over 100, 20 over 100, 30 over 100, and 100 over 100. So that's 0.50, 0.20, 0.30, and 1. Now we're going to have 40 over 100, 40 over 100, 20 over 100, and 100 over 100. So that's 0.40, 0.40, 0.20, and 1. Again, notice all these are going to be your 1s because you're going by a row. So the end of the row should have the 1s. So 90 over 200, 60 over 200, 50 over 200, and 200 over 200. So 0.45, 0.30, 0.25, and 1. All right, and then our last one is our columns. So the columns, the totals are right here. Okay, so for the first one, all those go over 90. All three of those over 60 for the second one, 30, 20, 50 over the third, 100, 120, all over, 200 all over 200. Okay, so 50 goes over 90, 40 goes over 90, and 90 goes over 90. And that gives us 0.56, 0.44, and 1. And now for the second one, they are all going to go over 60. So 20, 40, and 60 all go over 60. That gives me 0.33, 0.67, and 1. Again, you're going to notice all of these now are going to have the 1s. All right, for this one, 30, 20, and 50 all go over 50. So that's 0.60, 0.40, and 1. And for the last one, 100, 100, and 200 all go over 200. And that's going to give us 0.50, 0.50, and 1. All right, so which relative frequency to a table, so which one of these three, would you use to show the percentages of boys versus girls, so boys versus girls, who voted to go to the zoo? Okay. All right, so zoo is which one? Is zoo a row or a column heading or a total of the entire table? So zoo has to do with a column. So you would be using the column ones. So column frequency, because zoo is a column heading. So which relative frequency table would you use? Explain why. Column frequency because zoo is a column heading. All right, so that's the lesson. Your homework is number 94. Actually, we're just going to start this top one with you just to help you out, because if this is right, then the rest should not be too bad. So I'm just going to do this top portion of your homework with you to help you out. So this is tonight's homework. Melissa took a survey of 100 pet owners. So don't forget, this is going to be your total for the table. That's going to go right here. To find out whether cats and dogs prefer being inside or outside. So construct a two-way table for the results. So 35 out of 50 cats prefer being inside. 35 out of 50 cats. Okay. So I'm going to focus on this one right here first. 50 cats. That's telling me there's 50 cats in total. So cats in total is going to be 50. Now, out of those 50, 35 want to be inside. So this is inside, and then this is total. No, 30 inside and cats. I apologize. So cats that want to go on the inside would go right here. All right, so 20 out of 50 dogs. Again, I'm going to start right here. So there were 50 dogs in total. So dogs and total would be right here, 50. And 20 of those 50 prefer being inside. So this number is inside and dog. So dogs that want to go inside are right here. All right, so then to get your numbers, 35 plus 20 is 55. This is already done. 50 minus 35 is 15. 50 minus 20 is 30. And 100 minus 55 is 45. Okay, so those are the top part for your homework for tonight. And then you should be able to figure this out, again, by rows. These are your rows, so you're going to be using all of those numbers. And then for the bottom one, it's by columns. Remember, these are your column headings or titles, so these are the numbers that you want to use for that. Okay, hopefully this helps. Don't forget to post it on Google Classroom. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Have a great day. Bye.